Hey guys, it's Bryan, your friendly neighborhood reviewer, and today I am going to talk about George Harrison's 33 and a Third album from 1976. Really excellent copy here, really nice. Not a difficult album to find. It was a pretty big bestseller. But we'll do the front cover here, of course, and the back cover. Really cool. This is a time, of course, the album refers to, it was released on the day of George's 33 and a third birthday, if you want to call it that. But anyway, that's the name of the title. There's George here. Of course, all the people on this album as well. And you got Billy Preston and Tom Scott right here. Different people from that. There you go. There's George's dad, too. That's a nice photo of him. This is when he started getting to the Formula One racing stuff and all that, especially in the next album, the self-titled George Harrison would write the song Faster, which was about his love of that sport. But a little history of this album. All right. First of all, number one, thank God he got this album out, because the last two albums he did were pretty terrible. Not terrible, but they were not quality releases from George Harrison. So on this album, he had struck a deal originally with A&M Records, and then unfortunately he had gotten hepatitis, and there was delays on the album that he was promised this album, and some other stuff that happened, and A&M Records basically sued him or whatever. Anyway, the contract got null and void. So he showed up under Warner Brothers, and they gave him, a good deal for the Dark Horse label. So his albums were going to be released in Dark Horse, and he signed a few new artists here and there. So he got a new deal, a new record company, and really good production on this album. In fact, this production is kind of starts toward that sound he'd get in the 80s. A really nice, really good, clean pop sound that works really well, and it gels very well for these songs. His singing also on this album is a real big improvement. Now, George, again, and I'm not, hitting on George, because I love George Harrison, but he was not the best singer. I mean, he just wasn't. Now John Lennon was, without a doubt, and Paul McCartney, fantastic A-plus singers. Ringo, about a C-plus singer, and Ringo would definitely tell you that. George can be a hit-and-miss singer. Again, it depends. His voice can be very warm, very inviting, and on this album, it's very warm and inviting, and the next few he did. In fact, from this album on through the 80s, his voice got better and better. And he even won a Grammy, I think, for a pop vocalist for a Brainwashed, the last album he did. But on this album, it really comes together for him. His guitar playing, the slide guitar is fantastic. He's always been a great slide guitarist. He really showed it off on Living the Material World. But on this album, he really does go with the guitar, plus his synthesizer. His synthesizer work on this, something he doesn't get credit for. Remember, George Harrison was one of the first ones to buy a Moog synthesizer and used it on Abbey Road, and then he did the Electronic Sound album, which is really bizarre, but actually more listenable than you think. But it was basically a synthesizer demonstration for the Moog. It was new in 67, 68. So anyway, so he's always been a great player as far as keyboards, and a great guitarist, of course, unparalleled. So on this album, it's almost a little compilation in a way, because it does feature some songs that he had started on during the All Things Must Pass sessions. And, Woman Don't You Cry For Me, he said, was kind of started written there. Certainly Beautiful Girl was. He just didn't have a chorus for it. See Yourself is actually a written song that he had composed during the Beatles, with the Beatles tenure. I think it was he said it was written in response to Paul McCartney admitted that he's taken LSD. He was the last one of the Beatles to admit he'd taken it, and he didn't want to be a bad influence, or not bad influence, but he didn't want to influence anybody to take drugs. So we're not endorsing that. So, but I'm being honest, yes, I've taken it. And the press had a field day, of course, as the press loves to do. But anyway, so this album has a lot of different songs that are written over the years. But we'll take them one by one. The first opening number, Woman Don't You Cry For Me, is just, great number. Kind of like almost a little shuffle there, a little bluesy, kind of almost a disco shuffle, but very well done, very well grounded. It doesn't have a lot of flash and stuff, but it's just got that great beat and some great guitar from him, great melody, and the little Juice Heart playing is really cool. You can hear that really neat. So fantastic opener right off the bat, out of the box. Great song. The second song, Dear One, is one of my favorites. Just him on the synthesizer. But man, what a synthesizer player he is. Just fantastic number. You could read it as a devotional song, or whatever. But it just a fantastic number and so gorgeous. And when he gets that chorus, because it's almost like a meditative drone, and then the chorus just like boom soars, and the arpeggios on the keyboard. It's just amazing. Great song. Anything else, if you don't hear it, Google that song and listen to that. You'll be amazed. The third one is a Beautiful Girl. That's the one he had written during All Things Was Past, but he just couldn't come up with a chorus for it. Or he had the music for it, but he couldn't come up with the lyrics. So he remembered it and finished the lyrics and finished it for this album. Another classic track. This is one a lot of critics have said sounded so much like the Beatles. It could have been on Rubber Soul. It could have been on one of those albums like that. But a great track nonetheless. And again, a classic song. See Yourself, which is the last number on the first side. Again, this was written during the time in response to Paul McCartney telling him, being honest about taking LSD, written at the time of the Beatles. And he had remembered it and finished it. And it's another one of those that kind of waltz in and out of time, kind of like We Can Work It Out with the Beatles. It changes into, different time signatures, which is why it has a really kind of carousel feeling to it. But this one is really well done. The lyrics are really good, very poignant. This is a song that at first I thought was, okay, pretty good. Good song. This one is like, I love this song. This is one of those songs that has grown on me so much over the years. It's one of my favorite songs of his now. And especially the middle eight where it just soars. And I love that. But anyway, great. I mean, they're a classic first side. Not a bad track on it. The second side starts off with It's Up to What You Value. I think it's what you value. Hard to say. A good chugging, little slow burn, little rocker. But it's a good groover. It's a good solid track. In fact, that's one too that is a good song, and it grows on you and grows on you too. You're like, man, that's a killer song. So another great one. The next one is True Love. It's an old Cole Porter song, classic, one of those classic standards. But he gives it such a modern, neat treatment, like a late 70s with a guitar and that pop sound. It's like, man, that could have been a hit single. Great updating of that. That was a real cool one. It's funny you contrast the Cole Porter one that he does here, and then the two he does on Somewhere in England. And the two on Somewhere in England, I don't like those songs as much. Hong Kong Blues and Baltimore Oriole. Baltimore is okay. But it to me, it doesn't suit it. I don't know. It's just not a very good, it doesn't suit being a pop rock number. As a standard, yeah, probably. Or a jazzier song. But this one works. This is a great song. I mean, great song and a great updating. So that, again, boom, we're off to Killer Thing. So then the next one's Pure Smokey, which is another tribute to Smokey Robinson. He did Ooh Baby on Extra Texture because he's a big Smokey Robinson fan. But this one works better, tremendously better. Pure Smokey is a really nice tribute. It's got a little jazzy influence to it, and it's really nice. To me, it's like the weakest song on the album. It's okay. The melody is, but it's all right. And then the next song, let's see, Pure Smokey. Oh, yeah, of course. Cracker Box Palace, the big hit, which was directed, the video was directed by Eric Idle from Monty Python. So George started his kind of loose association with Monty Python with this song video. And he also contributed money with the Handmade films, with the Life of Bryan. Got that going as well, helped produce that, so helped, little thing. But and then also too the Ruddles, the Beatles parody that he's on, with the Eric Idle and all them. So there was a lot of projects they did together. So it was really cool. And George is great when he has that, because he has a wonderful sense of humor, but he kind of hides it sometimes because everything he talks about is so deadly serious. So it's neat when the sense of humor comes out, because he's a very funny man. This album too is extremely funny. You catch him such an upbeat mood. I think, with all the problems that the Beatles had with the early 70s, after the breakup, with the court battles and the bad air and the vibes, you can tell that by this time probably a lot of that was gone. But and George, I think, benefited the most from it, because he seems like such a happier guy when this album came out. He really did. He seems like he was kind of sad during a lot of the stuff, or he was going through a lot of stuff. You can tell that in the music too. But this album is a happy album. So is the next one, George Harrison. But Cracker Box Palace is just a great song. It's so funny. The video's hilarious. If you ever Google it or go to YouTube here, and then you can find it. But a great song, uplifting song. It was a big hit. It's a fantastic number. And then Learning How to Love You, I think it was the last number on this song, this album. Oh, this song. I forgot this song. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, this song. Boy, I screwed that up. So let's go back. All right. Actually, Crackerbox Palace is the next last song. And then on the first side, this song. I totally forgot that. How could I forget that song? But this song, we'll go back to side one. This is the fourth track. This song, which was another top 30 hit, I think it was details about his lawsuit battle with Bright Tunes, who owned the copyright to He's So Fine, which they claimed that he unknowingly plagiarized in My Sweet Lord. There's some minimal in the songs, especially in the verses. And but it did go against him. He did lose the court battle and apparently had to hand over a lot of money. Because remember, this was one of the biggest singles of all time. It went number one in every country in the world. This was a huge single. So he obviously had to hand over some money. But he does such a wonderful tongue-in-cheek. And the video for this, Google this song for George Harrison. A great number and a great video. It's so funny. But it's a great song. This song is a great song. But and it's very funny. And you know, what a best way to shrug it off, you know, with a sense of humor. That's the best way to do it. So even that tells you he was a definitely better state of mind, because take something horrible like that he just wanted to bless the world with a great song and uplift the world, especially, you know, at the end of the Vietnam stuff going on. But and to take that and drag it through a court battle, it's sad. So, but he did a great job. He was in a better place, and he wrote a happy song to combat that. So good for you, George. But anyway, okay, now back to the last song, Learning How to Love You, which is actually written for Herb Alpert. So obviously no hard feelings with George on A&M Records, I guess, with Herb Alpert. Really jazzy, kind of neat little song. Understated, but a nice way to end the album. So overall, I would probably, I don't think it's quite a perfect album. It's close. That first side is dang perfect. The second side's a little, Pure Smokey is okay. I think it's okay song. Kind of like Here Comes the Moon from the next album. It's like, it kind of knocks it down a little bit for me. But, yeah, this is probably, I would probably give it a 4 out of 5. But if you want to give it a 5, I'm not arguing with you, but I would probably officially give it 4 out of 5. George is a hit and miss as far as on record. Even All Things Must Pass is hit and miss, especially when you include the instrumental jam. But it's still fantastic. Paul McCartney has trouble having a complete, consistent album where every song works. That's hard to do. You know, 5-star albums are kind of rare. I mean, you know, we all love our albums, but let's be honest. Some of them have okay songs, some of them have good songs, and some of them have filler. You know, this is very close to a 5-star. If I gave 4.5, I would give it 4.5. So if you want to do that, we'll do that. But there it is. But anyway, great album. Pick that up. Before you pick up anything like Extra Texture or Dark Horse, that's a great album. Good. In fact, that's a good intro to George Harrison. I would probably recommend the self-titled George Harrison more because I think it's just a gorgeous album. But you're not going to go wrong with this one. This is a good one. But anyhow, thanks for listening. Hope you enjoy the review, the vinyl showcase. Click those buttons, hit subscribe and all that. Really love doing this, guys. I hope you all appreciate it. I know I appreciate you all. Thank you for everything. I enjoyed this. Let me know what you think of this album. Let me know what you think of 33 1/3, if it's your favorite George Harrison, or, you know, I don't think anyone's going to say it's that. I really doubt it. But this is a good album. It really is. You need to check this out. Anyway, and you also need to check out my buddy David Darko's channel, which we talk some really cool stuff, political stuff, culture crap, all that garbage and all that stuff. But we have so much fun with it, and it's hilarious. We have a lot of fun with it. But you gotta laugh at these ridiculous politicians. But anyway, take care, guys. Love each other. Be good to each other. You know, take care. Appreciate it.